The Chargers
Well.
finally fired
Well.
their head coach. So, Mons, let's start there.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because the Chargers fired Brandon Staley and their GM Friday morning. I'm going to say I don't think anyone was really surprised by this news. More so of, what took you so long?
Right. I mean, the surprise is that it actually happened, right? Because there's been so many incidents, so many games.
I mean, after the Chargers' soul-crushing loss to the Raiders on primetime Thursday Night Football, like, you have to do something after. There were no more excuses. They were losing 49-0 in the third quarter after the Raiders lost 3-0 last week, which sounds like a soccer score.
Right.
Not a football score.
Yeah.
Now, I think the hardest part to kind of, not the hardest part, I mean, the easiest thing to kind of wrap your head around is Staley was a defensive coach.
Right.
And he could not get his side of the ball in order. The Raiders set their franchise scoring record with 63 points on Thursday night. That can't happen.
Dude,
but
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. But it's not just about last night. The Chargers' defense is just bad. And when you're a defensive coach, that can't happen. The Chargers are 27th in points allowed per game, 29th in yards allowed per game. And honestly, we've talked about this before. I was surprised they even brought him back this year, especially after last seas's playoff loss, the collapse to the Jags. They had a 27-point lead, then lost 31-30. It was just brutal. But one other thing to remember with Staley, and I don't want to make excuses for him because that's not what we're here for.
No.
He was a young and inexperienced coach. This was his very first head coaching job. He had only been a defensive coordinator for 1 year under Sean McVay and the Rams. So they probably thought they could get that same kind of magic the Rams got from McVay. They didn't. I think they held on a little too long.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
That they held on a little too long. Why? And, you know, I would ask people. We actually, Justin Frostberg, who is a producer here, he also produces the radio for the Chargers.
Okay.
And I'm a Chargers fan. He's a Chargers fan.
I know
and I was always like, when are they going to make a change? And he's like, it's probably going to be after the season.
Most people thought
that.
Yeah.
And it just was like, at what point do you? It's a definition of insanity. Like, we keep getting the same result. You keep thinking something's going to change, and nothing's changing. In fact, it's getting worse. It was time. It was time. I hope Brandon Staley, like you said, a learning experience.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to get paid. He's still going to get paid.
Sure.
He'll get another coordinating job somewhere.
Yeah.
But just take a reset.
Reset. To me, I wonder, is it that the players just didn't believe what he was selling? You have to believe what your coach tells you. What he says in the locker room. You just saw how the Raiders are playing for Antonio Pierce. Like,
yeah, but then they also lost 3-0 the week prior.
Right.
So it's
3-0. But you get them, like, they all kind of like have banded together and are following what their coach is telling them. And I feel like I have never seen, or I've never believed that the Chargers are actually following what their coach is saying.
Okay. Now I got another question here.
Okay.
How much is Justin Herbert to blame for all this? Because I'm going to say this last game probably helped his case a little bit, just to see how big of a dumpster fire the entire thing, organization, plays, coach was, even without him. I'm going to say there's no denying that Justin Herbert is a great quarterback, right? The games that they were losing, they were still scoring 25 to 30 points. But I think he needs to take a slight part in this situation. He has been paid as a top-tier quarterback, okay? And with that comes big responsibilities.
Sure.
You should be able to put a franchise and a team on your back if you are getting that kind of money. He is an incredible talent, okay? But he needs to have those wow, no doubt moments. Okay? Look at someone else in his class, his draft class. Joe Burrow. He took a disaster franchise, put them on his back, brought them to a Super Bowl. And there's also moments where, say it's the last drive of the game, okay? Do you feel confident that when Justin Herbert gets the ball, no matter what, he's going to get it done? Like we feel when Mahomes or Joe Burrow gets a ball in that moment. He is getting that kind of money.
Yeah.
He is getting that kind of money, and when you get that kind of money, you need to have that kind of responsibility and have that kind of an effort to be able to pick your team up if something else isn't going well.
I agree with what you're saying, but I disagree that Justin Herbert has any fault in this. he's not playing defense. He can't stop the other team from scoring. He was scoring. He was doing what he can. And then I think this year, kind of like how Josh Allen, I've said that he put too much on his shoulders. I think Justin Herbert this year was doing that because he felt the need that he had to put the team on his shoulders because they weren't stopping the other ball on the other side. I don't think Justin Herbert is responsible.
Zero. You say zero blame for how big of a dumpster fire the Chargers are this year. You have to. He is the leader of this team.
He is the leader of this team, but the reason they have lost is not because of him. He has not been the reason that they have lost. It has been bad coaching and the defense not being able to stop a freaking score.
Also, we're not in that locker room. As you mentioned, we don't know.
We don't know.
Does the team believe what Staley was saying?
That's where I'm stuck on.
If they don't, this is where a leader steps up and you bring the team together in a separate way to be like, come on, guys, this is our team. This is a reflection on us. We need to do this. We need to bring this together. And this is where not only getting paid as one of the top players in the league, but being a leader on this team, I feel like there needs to be a sense of responsibility.
And I'm not saying he should get 0%. It's just that, like, I look at it and I'm like, oh, Justin Herbert. I would never even think that. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not saying, of course.
You're also a Chargers fan.
Sure, but at the same time, what I'm saying is, like, I think he's excellent, and I think that he has actually, this year, has been held back, and I think it's the pressure. The one thing I will tell you, I do wish he was a bit of a more vocal leader, and he has said that he isn't like that, and that he should be. He's also, it's his third, fourth year? Like, I know you brought up Joe Burrow, same class, I understand. I think there is excuse when you are not, when your team as a whole is not doing well. You feel defeated. How do you come out of that as a team when all of your defeats have been by one score?
It's your job,
I
though.
understand,
you are the leader. You got to find it wherever you
and
find
he's putting
it,
up
and the
his
greatest
numbers.
ones do.
He's doing his job. He can't go and play defense.
You can motivate.
And maybe
you can have conversations.
And maybe he was. And it wasn't working, but I don't think it's him. I think it's just Brandon Staley was there. They were not believing what he was selling. And you have to believe what your coach sells in the locker room. Whatever you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no discipline. The penalties that they would get, it's like they have no respect for Brandon Staley. That's what I saw every single time. Like, they just didn't care that they lost by 64 points Raiders put up on them? That is a team that does not care. 63. Thank you.
Yeah.
Whoa, one off. Okay.
Franchise record for the Raiders.
You know, like, that just goes to show how much they were truly like, we do not care anymore.
I don't think it's a reflection of we do not care, but it just wasn't the fit. It wasn't the right fit in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that they gave him another year when there were so many other great coaches available last year.
It is weird.
Like, Sean Payton wanted to go to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Really wanted to. Vocally talked about wanting to go there. Like, no, we're going to keep Brandon Staley for another year.
And why? Just because you thought defensively he was going to do something?
Give him one more shot.
Okay.
It's time to flip the page and look into the future. Okay? He's gone. Who is the next best fit to be the Chargers head coach? Not a lot of options.
No.
Right now.
No. Obviously, that could change, but
if he is available, I think Jim Harbaugh would be a great fit for this franchise. He thinks outside of the box. He brings culture. He knows what it takes to win. He's already taken an NFL team to the Super Bowl, the 49ers in the 2012 Harbaugh Bowl where they played the Ravens and the lights went out like,
oh my gosh.
mid,
so long ago.
Mid-game.
But it feels like it was like just a couple of years ago and it wasn't.
But obviously the biggest question, is he willing to leave college football and the great Michigan program to come back to the NFL? And I think that is all going to come down to if the NCAA has some heavy penalties for him and the school after everything that happened this year, then maybe I can see him leaving. Or if they win a national title, I can also see him being like, hey, job done, check. Maybe I'm ready to come back. Plus, he's going to be losing a lot of guys on that Michigan team to the NFL draft this season. And then some big pros.
Yeah.
For Harbaugh. You have a franchise quarterback. Who is great.
Yes.
Okay. His talent has not fully been taken advantage of yet. You have great pieces already in place. And right now, because of the season they're having, You're going to have high draft picks. Currently, they have the 5th draft pick. There's going to be a new GM, so you'll also have more say than you would if you were coming in with someone already in place. There's a lot of ifs. There are a lot of ifs there.
I don't think Harbaugh is coming to the NFL. But I agree that I think he would be a good fit. I think he is well respected. Mm-hmm. And like you said, he brings a culture, right?
Yeah.
A whole
Which
different...
Chargers need. They do not have a culture right
and
now.
They need that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to leave, though. So, like, other names that I've thought of, you know, Kellen Moore, who is currently their offensive coordinator, young guy, but apparently he has a really good relationship with Justin Herbert. And it wouldn't surprise me if they elevate him, even though they didn't make him the interim head coach. I know that. But
that kind of right there would be a little red flag.
I would not be surprised. It's his first year as offensive coordinator. He had mega success with the Cowboys. Everybody seems to like that guy. Another one, if we're thinking, you know, maybe another defensive coordinator, Brian Flores of the Vikings. He should get a lot of credit for what they've managed to do, losing, you know, Kirk Cousins, losing Justin Jefferson. He has motivated their defense to, you know, step up their game every single time. The Minnesota's defense, I think, is ranked 5th in the league right now. Like, I think that is also a real possibility, Brian Flores. More than Jim Harbaugh. Another name everybody's Bill Belichick. But here's the thing about the Chargers, which I think we said this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Chargers. There is not a lot of flexibility because of the mega contracts with the mega names on that team.
But you're going to get draft picks.
Right. But there's still not, at least next year, not as much flexibility unless you're going to get rid of players that are currently on the Chargers that have big names. But it's just there's a lot of money tied up. That would be the only thing that maybe discourages a coach. But Justin Herbert, LA, a lot of other positive things.
A lot of good pieces already in place.
Ownership, though, not a great one either.
You're going to get draft picks. This is going to be an interesting offseason for the Chargers. I just hope, honestly, I hope they get an offensive coach so Justin Herbert can just reach and see, because we've seen moments of greatness from him, but it hasn't been obviously consistently throughout his short career so far, but it's there, which is why he got the mega contract and which is why the Chargers believe in him, which is why we continue to put him in the conversations of these top tier quarterbacks. But he needs that opportunity to fully be able to prove that and show himself.
Yeah, I hope the Chargers do pick a coach that can, like you said, bring a culture and just a different level of mentality to that organization. Because it's just, like, I hate to say it, but it's like a JV team, right? Like, you compare,
the
like,
Chargers are
going to
charge. Like, when
your
name is like a thing of failure, that's not good.